This is demo for warehouse management training. You can see the list of course contents here. So warehouse management organization structure, WM master data, inbound processes, stock placement strategies with capacity check methods, interim storage areas, all outbound processes, picking set strategies, storage unit management, internal warehouse operations such as posting change notice and stock transfers, warehouse interfaces with other modules like inventory management, quality management, production planning, and sales and distribution, physical inventory methods in warehouse management, warehouse activity monitor, housekeeping activity, and the warehouse management reports, handling risk management, RFID scanning process using mobile data entry functionality in WM, WM printing functionalities, batch management, and some WM technical topics. So all these topics will be covered in our training sessions, and I would say most of the training would be conducted in SAP screens. Like about 90% of training will be done in SAP. So we'll show you how to configure and how we can set up the business process with the SAP WM functionalities. So the technical configuration should be based on the actual business process. You see the screen here. So these are the major processes we'll cover in the training: inbound, internal processing, outbound. Under inbound, you see the purchase order goods receipt process and the production or process order goods receipt process, and stock transport order, like internal movement. Between the company to company transfer or plant to plant transfer, how do we receive the product from using that STO and then do the put away in WM. And then whatever you give it for outside contract processing, subcontracting process, how to receive that product into WM, and then customer returns. That is also comes in inbound. And if you see the internal processing, we do picking, packing, counting, storage, and some internal bin to bin transfers actually, right? So all this, including the physical inventory count. So this comes under internal processing. And if you see outbound process, customer shipments, regular sales order and delivery, the shipment document, and then how do we pick and what kind of strategies we use for picking process, and then vendor returns, that is also outbound, and then transfers whatever the material you ship for the other company or the plant using stock transport order, and outside processing like issue of components for subcontract vendor for further process, and then the last is the staging to production. So issue the components for your in-house production actually, right? So all this comes under outbound. So you see this screen gives you the organization structure where you can see the IM level where the storage location is the least level. So company, plant, and location. So when WM picks up where IM leaves off, so from the location, so we pick a WM with the warehouse number actually, right? So the warehouse number is generally assigned to the location, and then you see under that the storage types, and then section, and the bin, and then list is quant. So we'll cover in detail. So how we create a organized structure and how the link works actually, and mainly we'll explain on what business scenario, what type of configuration is required. So that kind of example we'll give while explaining the configuration SAP. So that is more important, right? So the basic flow of warehouse management, okay, the WM location, when you do the goods receipt into WM location, right? So how the movement triggers in WM. So that the flow is illustrated here. So it creates a document in WM, then document is confirmed in WM actually. So the organized structure, if you see, there is a one more the organization element, which is a storage unit, is also included here, that comes and after storage bin before quant. right? So that is also covered. We'll cover that storage unit comes under storage unit management. So this is a warehouse structure for the inventory management. When you don't use a warehouse, you can see that how the locations are created in the plants. So this is just a location level stock without WM enabled. This slide you can see with the WM enabled for two different plants and also two different locations for the each plant, and also the warehouse number is separated, okay, with the different storage types. And this slide you see the warehouse number is the one but for the two plants. So this is also possible. We'll explain how to map this and what business functionality requires this kind of settings, right? Then, so this is example of just a movement of the material when it comes from outside. So how do we do the goods receipt, and then where it goes first, then how do we place into the main bin. So similarly for the outbound, okay, goods issue. So we have areas like goods issue area. So then we do the goods issue. This is just one simple example, but in the warehouse we have very complex processes. Okay, so we have a storage type strategy actually. So each storage type we can define the strategies. So what are the strategies are required for both inbound and outbound? Okay, which means put away and then picking, right? And then under that we have a storage sections and also for picking area, and then bin type and storage unit types on. So how do we map this, and how the system works for each different strategies with a different control. So here it shows that storage bins and quants. A screen shows how we have the storage bin generally defined in the warehouse racks, and how do we define that bin sizes like high bin or big size or lower bin, and so that's generally we use with the bin type. And then how do we define slow moving items and fast moving items, how do we segregate it. So those things will cover. And the storage bin master data, so we'll cover all the master data. Will explain you that each and every fields, the importance. And so this is a storage bin master data. So we'll explain what are the data are mandatory for the creating the storage bin master, and what are the fields are relevant for which business functionalities, and what how to create a storage bin master. So everything we'll cover in the training session. So basically, when master data are very very important for SAP. So we have to learn each and every field of a master data. So once you thorough for all the fields of the master data, then you can say you are expert in that specific module actually. Okay. And then this is unit of measurement. So any business can have multiple unit of measurements, right? So how we can accommodate and handle that different unit of measurements, which is alternate unit of measurements in warehouse management, put away and picking process section. Okay, and how the link works between inventory and then warehouse management. So whenever you execute any transaction in inventory management, how that is linked to WM, that will be covered in detail with SAP configuration. So there are SAP defined intermediate storage types, interim storage types. Okay, so there are so many interim storage types we have already available in SAP, or you can also create your own interim storage types, and the necessary configurations required for mapping that. So I can guide you that how to create a new interim storage type as well, and for which scenario it might be required. You can see, for example, goods receipt area, goods issue area, interim storage area for differences, and the posting change zone, and so other goods receipt area. So similarly, you can create other goods, I mean interim storage types as well in SAP. or interim storage in SAP, it starts with the 9 series as a standard. So this is some illustration, general process in WM actually. So any order you create in WM for doing any movements, we need a transfer order, right? So for that you can have the transfer requirement as well. You can convert them into TO. So how the TO can be, converted into transfer order. So that will be covered in detail, and how to handle the differences in WM. And you see the put away strategies. So when you do the goods receipt, for example, for a purchase order, okay, you do a goods receipt, and so you might have a complex warehouse, and then you receive one metal into one storage step, another metal into different storage based on the metal nature or based on the material type. So whatever it is. So how do we define the storage types for our business, and then how do we receive a metal into a bin, and what kind of strategy we can apply, which bin we have to receive in, right? So, so we have different put away strategies, right? So next empty bin strategy, fixed bin strategy, manual entry, addition to existing stock strategy, bulk storage strategy, open storage strategy, storage unit type, pallet strategy. Right? So these are the strategies will be covered in detail in the training session. Okay, with the configuration, with a SAP screen, with the testing, right? So that is more important actually. So that will be covered. So this is something with some image you can see how the fixed bin assignment can be done here. This is a bin structure. So next empty bin, attempt add to existing stock, storage unit type pallet strategy, block storage, open storage concept, and then you have the capacity check also, right? So capacity check can be enabled. So not for all the strategies, for some strategies can have the capacity check. So how to enable the capacity check, you know, and also most I would say most of the strategies you can have the capacity check with the weight or the storage unit type based capacity check, or the maximum quantity based or a neutral key based capacity check. So then there is a concept called pre-allocated stock check, how you can use this functionality in WM, and then picking scenario. So we have as I already shown you that for the outbound we have different picking picking is required for the different orders, different objects. So customer order or internal issue, production vendor or object processing, whatever. So how do we apply the picking strategy? So using following picking strategies: first in, first out, lost in, first out, shelf life expiry date based picking, partial quantities picking, or large or small quantity based picking, right? So all the strategies can be used based on the business requirement, right? So when we say the storage unit management, when you want to maintain the stock at the storage unit level, right? So that we have to activate the storage unit management. So how we can activate the storage unit management, how we can create the storage unit number, how to define the configurations. So all will be covered in detail in the training. And then WM interfaces with the production planning. For example, how do we stage the components to the production supplier, and then how do we get it backstage the material for the leftover production. I mean whatever the components left over in the production line. The physical inventory process in warehouse management. So we have different methods in warehouse management. So you see the major annual inventory method, continuous inventory method, cycle counting. Okay. So all these methods can be applied. Also the manual inventory count also can be applied. So I'll explain you what are the settings required, master data settings required in SAP. How do we perform this inventory counting using these methods in WM? So one of the important activity in warehouse management is housekeeping activity, which is warehouse monitoring. So there are some configurations required in order to run this report, and how user can view this report, how to resolve or close open items on daily basis. Handling unit management. See, handling unit management is again very important for WM. For most of the clients, they would need a handling unit management functionality in order to have a packing process, using packaging material, and in order to have a nested packing functionality in SAP, we should go with the handling unit management. Okay, so how it's kind of a small module, actually, I would say. So there are various functionalities can be applied, can be implemented using handling unit management in SAP. So how we can define, enable activate the handling unit management, and how to create a handling unit number, how to manage handling unit management, how to pick a handling unit, how to put away handling unit. So all this we'll see, how to repack, how to, you know, um, create a new handling unit manually. So all this will cover in handling, in our training session. Also, how quality management interface works with the handling unit management. That is very important again. So next is RFID, the mobile data entry functionality. So how do you scan a pallet, basically, when you say, example, use storage unit or the handling unit with the barcode label, right? And how do you scan that? So that functionality, and what are the important transactions in RFID, function in SAP WM, and how to create some custom transactions, and how it interfaces with the SAP. So all this will be covered, and what are the configurations are required in order to enable RFID functionality. Then batch management. So this is again very important. We can see the batch status management, batch creation methods, batch determination, how the batch determination works for various, uh, picking process and various modules. Okay, including WM, production planning, and sales and distribution, batch cockpit reports, and then how to create the classification characteristics for the batch. And then some of the WM technical topics. So what are the tables are important in WM, and also what are the user exits may be required. Enhancements might be required in WM. That also will be covered. So thank you very much. And so you decide. So we'll have a wonderful training sessions, actually. So you'll like it, and I hope you enjoyed this demo session. Thank you.